The death of Kiryu Setsuna has occurred in Kengan Omega. The Tiger Niko has defeated him. Likewise with Aoya, who seems to have an off-screen death, only natural for the ultimate goon of Kengan. It is about time, celebrations can now commence. The final exchanges between Niko and Setsuna were without a doubt peak Kengan. Art at its max, our boy Kiryu actually put fear into the big villain who's been set up since Kengan Ashura, and forced him to activate Advance Guhan Divine Demon. What do you think he used here? I'm gonna assume it was Advance due to it being the safest option out of him, but who knows considering how much abilities Niko has access to, or most likely has the ability to use. As a whole, Kengan Omega Chapter 244 was, I guess, fitting to end Kiryu, at least very respectful. Going into this fight, I thought it was pretty much a high possibility that Kiryu would die, and honestly speaking, I didn't really think it would happen this fast, especially in this chapter after it seemed like Kiryu landed a deadly combo on the Tiger Niko, that being his Koei style x Gaia style, Rakahasha's soul x air rending, which kinda landed, kinda didn't. In my previous video, I was going over theories about how Niko would actually survive this, and we pretty much see it here. He used Indestructible with his hand to block, I guess, half of it, with the other half landing on his trap, shoulder, neck around that range, meaning it didn't exactly hit his head as I previously talked about. Which does bring up another point I talked about with some people in the Discord over the last week. Whether Indestructible can actually be used on someone's head or face, something that has kind of been contradicted in the Kengan Omega story itself. Back in Kengan Ashura, it was established that you can't use Indestructible on your head or your face. However, this was in reference to Kano Gito. Then more so recently in Kengan Omega, we've seen Mukaku, the creator of the Niko style, use it on his face when taking these various blows from Koga, meaning it was either contradicted or retconned in the story, or just Mukaku's mastery of the Niko style allows him to use it on his face, while someone like Kano, who only knows a few techniques, is on the lower levels of mastery, meaning it's possible the Tiger Niko could do the same. However, that isn't a factor. He used Indestructible on his hand here to block half the attack, and also land a very deadly counter with his Iron Fingers, something we've also seen previously in the story, which on reflection is actually a very good showing for the Tiger Niko. In the previous chapter, it was believed that he got fully caught off guard by Kiryu with this combo, making it seem like Kiryu was going to land a direct shot. However, he was able to block some of the damage and also land an even more deadly counter, so Tiger Niko isn't exactly a fraud, just pretty much underestimating Kiryu as we get confirmed various times in this chapter. And we once again get it highlighted about how deadly Kiryu's Koei style actually is. The amount of damage the soul variation of the technique was able to do to the Tiger Niko in this chapter was pretty significant, and he can also use it on different parts of his body. In this chapter, it looks like we have Kiryu landing the Rakahasha ability using his elbow, which has never been seen before, actually disabling Niko's arm, which is insanely impressive. With Kiryu's final goal being revealed before his death here, becoming Oma's god by killing the Tiger Niko. Previously in Kengan Omega and everything prior, Oma was pretty much a god for Kiryu after seeing him in his full maxed out advanced rampage mode, alongside of course young Oma saving Kiryu previously in the story before all of that insanity as well. Now it's Kiryu wanting to become Oma's god. Quite the evolution, with some drawbacks to the whole battle between the two Nikos in the past, something I wanted to get more insight about. However, it seems like Kiryu doesn't exactly know the full events of the exchange, namely what the Tiger Niko did to harm Oma's master so much that allowed Genzan to defeat him after. I broke down pretty much that whole flashback in this video here if you want to check it out. Something else we have to respect is Kiryu's pain tolerance and absolute insanity. He literally gets stabbed right in the chest here, similar to how he was stabbed by Kuroki Gensai back in Kengan Ashura, and doesn't really show any emotion and continues his next attack. Revealing so much kill intent, he puts fear into the Tiger Niko, forcing him to, I guess, go all out, unleash his advance, and finish Kiryu sadly off screen, meaning we're not going to know exactly what transformation the Tiger Niko used here and what ability he used. However, it's important to note that he was able to defeat Kiryu with one of his arms pretty much immobilized and doesn't really show any additional damages after unleashing his transformation here, saying to Gilbert, "I'm done on my end too," with Kiryu's dead body. So is the Tiger Niko a fraud? Not exactly. It's more so Kiryu is much stronger than a lot of us in the fandom actually expected, and he went out like an absolute god, that's for sure. For example, considering his showings in this fight against the Tiger Niko, regardless of him underestimating Kiryu, if we take in everything prior established about the Tiger Niko and where he would rank in the verse, Kiryu should place pretty much on the same tier as people like Lolong, Kano, Drota, all those people, Oma, etc. I would place him on that tier without a doubt. Now, when it comes to Aoya, it seems like William was able to solo him without much difficulty. Gilbert appears behind the Tiger Niko saying William's just doing the cleanup, most likely cleaning up Aoya's dead body, hopefully. It's a little unfortunate we didn't get to actually see that fight. However, if we see next chapter that Aoya's still alive somehow, I'm gonna lose my mind. I hope at most we just see his dead body getting absolute confirmation in the next chapter. Please just give us that. Now we have another question to go over. What's going to happen next in the Kengan Omega story? We've had multiple tournaments actually be set up, that being the Champions Tournament and a new Annihilation Tournament. But before any of that stuff can really occur, the Kengan Association needs to deal with the worm, namely the match against Shenmue or the 1v1 Kengan match against one of the members that will of course decide whether the worm pretty much gets control of the entire Kengan Association. I think one way this could actually go is asking Shen if he wants to participate in the Champions Tournament, the one that already has Lolong and Drota in it, claiming that these are the strongest fighters of the Kengan Association that they have to offer and that it would be fun for him, perhaps getting his agreement, and that would be how we settle that whole score. We have Shenmue entering that tournament, maybe Oma as well. He wasn't a confirmed fighter, however 1 or 2 places I believe were still remaining outside of the various unknown fighters we know nothing about. So perhaps Shenmue is added to that list and that's how we move forward in the story. Or we could just have a one-on-one fight which results in the worm taking over the Kengan Association and perhaps them just chilling and allowing the Champion Tournament to commence after that. Who knows, there's a lot of possibilities. We also still need the rise of Koga in the story as the actual protagonist of Kengan Mega. Definitely a lot more to continue, hundreds of chapters to remain, I'm not gonna lie. But that's everything for today's video. Shout out to the Mad Lads. That's it guys, peace.